सहनावतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। ॐ गुरुब्रह्मा गुरुविष्णुः गुरुदेवो महेश्वरः गुरुसाक्षात् परब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। So we'll start our deep obeisance to Swami Paramatmananda ji and Adi Shankaracharya, who has been the one who propagated Advait. So from here we take on. So let's go with the first shloka.
Yeah. First of all, Happy New Year to everyone. I pray and wish that, we'll be together in this spiritual journey this year and complete Tattvabodha soon and start next text. Yeah. Coming to the topic. Panchakosha ke Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya. Iti. So, in the previous the student asked, what is Atma? So we have learned. So Atma is different from the three bodies or the three five koshas or three avasthas. So that is what that is what was answered, right? And we know that each individual is made up of two components. Atma, one is Anatma and another is Anatma. Atman is a spiritual component. Anatman is a material component. So that material component is being divided into 11 divisions. Out of that, 3 koshas that we already studied in the last class, Stula, Sukshma and Karna Sharira. And 5 koshas, those are Annamaya, Pranamaya, and Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, and Anandamaya kosha. And 3 avasthas, those are Jagrat, Sapna, and Shushupti, right? Can you go to the next slide, please? So, who is Atma when it was asked? The answer was given is the self is, was given is Atma Stula, Sukshma, Karna, Sharira, Yatiriktaha. That means the self is different from the gross, subtle, and causal body. That means it is beyond 5 sheets. So here, the author now explains about what are these 5 koshas or sheets, so that we can understand that Atman is different from this, or it is not a part of these 5 sheets as well. Right? Can you go to the next slide? Yeah. I'm sorry, I am not getting the flow for some reason. I don't know. Uh, uh, yeah. So here, all these five koshas. So what is kosha here? So kosha means the one which covers or envelops. So it is like scabbard of a sword. So is called a kosha. Kosha is different from the thing which is inside. So scabbard is different from the sword. Similarly, Atman is different from the koshas. Pancha koshas are not different from the three bodies, which we know, gross, subtle, and causal body. The same, these three shariras, what we studied, are looked in a different angle. Those are five koshas. So the same way, when we say sthula sharira is nothing but the annamaya kosha or a physical body or a gross body. Can you go to the next slide? And and Karana Sharira is nothing but the bliss body. But wherein Sukshma Sharira is being divided into three koshas, that is Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, and Vijnanamaya Kosha. Pranamaya Kosha is the pranic energy personality or the vital air sheet. So that is called the Kriya Shakti. Pranamaya Kosha is called a Kriya Shakti. And Manomaya Kosha is a mental sheet or a emotional sheet or an emotional personality, which corresponds to the Icha Shakti. Vijnanamaya Kosha is an intellectual sheet or a knowing personality, which corresponds to Jnana Shakti. So, our whole life is run by these three powers or these Shaktis. So, first we will try to understand what is available in the universe, knowing about the universe. So for example, suppose I go to a shopping mall. So what we first thing we do is we will look at everything which is there, whatever possible, whatever comes to our vision, we will try to see everything. So where Vijnanamaya Kosha is working, Vijnanamaya Kosha is nothing but you're trying to know what all is available there. So once you see all of that, then your mind will go fix into one thing, wherein and it will start desiring for it. So wherein your Icha Shakti is working. So once you fix, okay, this is worth. So then you will start thinking, okay, let me buy this. So you will start working towards acquiring it. So wherein your Kriya Shakti is working, your Pranamaya Kosha is working. So anything you see, first of all, you can only desire for what you know, right? So jnana leads to icha leads to kriya. So you see one thing, you start desiring for it, then you will start working to acquire it. So then again, one more jnana will come, again you will desire, again you will start working for. So life is a continuous process of these three powers. Our whole life is run by these three powers, right? And the last one is Karna Shariram, that is Anandamaya Kosha, the state of bliss experience, because we experience happiness in that, right? And we also studied about three shariras. Can you go to the next slide? Yeah. We also studied about three states of experience. So the Jagrat, Swapna, and Shushupti. The waking state and the dream state and the deep sleep state. So these three states are continuously changing. Even though the states are continuously coming and going, the individual living behind this is same person. The experience behind is the same person. I say I had a deep sleep. Thereafter, I had a dream. Now I am awake. That means I alone am behind all these three states. The states are variable, but the experience is non-variable conscious being. even though I am a non-variable conscious being, I get three names from three different standpoints. When I am in a waking state, I am called a waker. When I'm in a dream state, I am called a dreamer. When I'm in a deep sleep state, I am called a sleeper. But in each different state, yeah, sorry, yeah. So when I am in a waking state, sorry, yeah, I am the same conscious being. The names I get as a waker, dreamer, and sleeper. So the waker is called a Vishwa because he's complete, wherein he is associated with all these three shariras: Karna Sharira, Sukshma Sharira, and Stula Shariras are all are active when I am in a waking state, Jagrata Avastha. So that's why I'm called a Vishwa. When I am in a dream state, I am called a dreamer because in the dream state, the Stula Sharira uh, is uh, is not present. Only Karna Sharira and Sukshma Shariras are present. So that's why it is called Tejasa. Tejasa means internal light. There is no experience from the outside in the dream state. So that's why it is called Tejasa. And in Shushupti, in the dream, in this deep sleep state, I am I am disassociated with Stula Sharira and Sukshma Sharira. I am only associated with the Karna Sharira because that is the state where I am, where this the sleeper is withdrawn from both the shariras. All the organs are not functioning. Since there are no organs functioning, there is no Jnanendriya or Karmendriya, mind or intellect. None of them are working. On the sleeper is in total ignorance. Not only ignorant of the external world, he is ignorant about his body, mind, sense, and complex. Even ignorant of the fact that he is sleeping. Sleeper says, I slept well only after he wakes up. At the time of sleep, I am not even aware that I'm sleeping, right? So it is a total ignorant state. So that's why the person who is in the Shishupti is called Prajna. Agnya means ignorance. When I am totally ignorant, I am called Prajna, right? Uh, so, so now we have studied three avasthas, three shariras. So now we are going to study in detail about what are these panchakoshas. All these panchakoshas are going to be studied in detail from our text. Yeah.
Thank you, Sana. It was quite a lengthy and a tough one, so you carried it quite well. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Any questions? Let me quickly concise what Sahana tried saying. What she said is that what we have learned so far is that we can divide our experiences in multiple ways. So one way to divide our experience is by looking at the mind go through three states. Mind goes through a waking state where it interacts with the sense organs and experiences this entire world. Then what happens is that mind suddenly decides not to interact through the sense organs. So it creates its own world of thoughts, which is your dream state. And then it goes to another state where it gets resolved, where it becomes a point. There is no mind. So mind is going through three states. One, where it is working along with sense organs. Two, when it is working without sense organs. And three, where it has resolved to nothing. But you, the Atman, can experience all these three states. because you know that I was dreaming, you know that I was awake, you know that I'm in deep sleep. I mean, you know after you get up from the deep sleep, because there's nothing to know in the deep sleep, as she was trying to say, prajna. There is no knowledge. All the faculties of knowledge are shut. So it's like same prema who acts like a mother, who acts like a daughter, and who acts like a learner. But the woman is one and the same prema, but she's going through different roles. So you, the consciousness, is experiencing three different aspects of your mind. You remain constant. So that is one way of knowing that I am not my waking state, I am not my dream, or I am not my deep sleep. That's one way to say that you can separate yourself from the experiences that you have in one way. The second way you can separate yourself from the experiences you have is by is by Sharira Trayam. What she spoke about, that what you experience is your physical body. You experience your physical body, right? Then you also experience your mental body. What are the mental body? There are three things which is happening. One is your energy body, right? So you kind of feel the energies are high, the energies are low. The digestive system is working, the excretory system is working. There are energy systems that are working inside you. That's an energy body. And behind the energy body, you have needs, you have desires, you have thoughts, you have ideas, you have visions, right? So that's your mental body. But which of those desires and those ideas or beliefs or emotions will be expressed, not expressed, selected, not selected, will be decided by your intellectual body. That is the decision making body. Right? And so these three things is basically a part of your Sukshma Sharira. So your body is a part of your Sthula Sharira, which can be seen by you and by everyone else. These three things that you spoke about, the energy system, the desires, the thoughts, the ideas, the beliefs, the emotions, and the decision making faculty. All the three are basically called subtle body or Sukshma Sharira. And then she spoke about Karana Sharira. Karana Sharira is a state of nothingness, a seed from which all the two other body comes out. And that's what we have learned. So what we are experiencing at any given point of time is these three selves, right? And if you think about it, you wanted to show up for this session, there was a desire and there was a decision because you had other things also to do. You could have always decided not to show up for this session. So someone inside you decided. That is your, that's what she's talking about in the previous one, if you look about it. Vignan Maya Kosha, the knowing personality or Jnana Shakti. And after you have sort of decided, there's a certain amount of desire, and then you go and you feel like going for the sessions, and this feeling creates energy. So you use your energy to come and show up. So basically, the physical body is nothing but the energy system which is working behind the physical body. So these are the three energy systems which are working behind or they are the three subtle systems which are working behind your physical body. So, and then there are Panchakosha. So what they're trying to do here is, they're just trying to tell us, okay, look, everything is experiences. Please understand that you are the experiencer. You experience your waking state, you experience your dream state, you experience your deep sleep state. You experience your physical body, you experience your subtle body, you experience your causal body. You experience your Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanmaya Kosha, and Anandmaya Kosha. So they are dissecting the entire world in various ways just to bring out a point. Ki, look, everything is nothing but experiences. Then if everything is experiences, who is the one who's experiencing it? You, the consciousness, you, the Atman, you, the Brahman, is the experiencer. So that is what Sahana tried explaining in this. Okay.
Actually, I had one. Can you just go back to that last slide, Vidhan, which Sahana? Yeah, here we have this state of experience, susupti. But where is the experiencer there?
So in Sushupti, you basically are, there is a lack of experience, right? That itself is a experience, that in the dream state and Jagrat state, there is an experience, a dream experience and a waking experience. But in dream state, there's a lack, because when you get up, you remember, you have some sort, you don't even remember, because you can't remember anything which happens in dream state, purely because your chittam, your memory isn't working. To remember or recall something, your memory should be working, correct? Neither your intellect is working, right? Neither your emotions are working, nothing. So the mind has resolved to the point where nothing is to be known. So there is nothing to know in the deep sleep.
Yeah, exactly. So the experience of the experiencer is to be distinguished between Susupti and Jagrat and Swapna. It is different. Here it is a lack, as you said, but there it is the presence which we are experiencing.
Yeah. And you're able to, so someone is able to distinguish the lack and the presence, which
In
means,
fact, the lack is not even distinguished in real time, actually.
so when you are
We are
in
not
deep,
able,
yeah,
it's only after the event, right?
yeah, only when you wake up, you know that you have slept. There was absence of all experiences, because you would have slept for 8 hours, but probably for 6 to 7 hours, you did not, the time does not exist, the space does not exist. I, the experiencer, also, the idea that I am experiencing also did not exist.
Yeah.
The ahankara did not exist. So I-ness itself was not there. So if I-ness is not there, where is the question of an experiencer, that I am the experiencer? The I also is a thought, isn't it? That's what we have done in the intermediate session, if you remember.
Yeah.
When I is a thought. So when I-ness is not there, there's no question of you. And yes, and there is no experience as well. And therefore, there is always a complication and question over here, where they say
No,
that
what I meant was there's no experiencer at that point in time.
there is an experiencer, there is no experience.
Experiencer also is not aware of the experience at that point in time, right? It's later, after the event is over.
For you to be aware, something has to be there. So you are aware of the lack of experience. Only when you wake up, your mind, which starts working, says, okay, I did not. So where are the thoughts coming? Thoughts are a part of your mind. So the consciousness is experiencing a thought that I slept well, or I did not sleep well, or I was in Sushupti state. So all these things are happening where? It is happening in your mind. You're experiencing that. But when the
Yeah,
mind resolves,
yeah, but all this we are going through only after
in the
we
waking
wake up.
state,
That's
you're right.
right. So,
So point you are saying is that the ideation is happening only in the waking state.
right. Yeah, that's what I just wanted to
Yes, the ideation
clarify
is
that.
happening. Yes, the ideation is happening in the waking state. The ideation can work only in the waking state, because only in the waking state the mind is active.
Hello. Yeah. Okay.
But
Okay.
you, the consciousness, are present
Right.
in all the three states. There's nothing to know in the deep sleep. So therefore, there's a lot of complication happens. They say maybe in the deep sleep there is no consciousness. And scriptures and Upanishads say in the deep sleep there is only consciousness.
That's what I wanted to add, because prajna means consciousness, and in the deep sleep state, the consciousness is much more awake than we can actually realize. Is that how? I was trying to actually look at the three prajna, because generally in Kannada also we say, I had no prajna, in the sense I had no conscious, but it's actually the consciousness that is with the karana shariram, which is awake at that point in time. And like how Sahana was mentioning, the names that is given to the three states, the waking state, I'm called the Vishwa, and the Swapna, the dream state, I'm called Taijasa, and Sushupti stage, we are the consciousness. Is that how we can culminate, or?
So these three states are basically the states of your mind.
Mm-hmm.
You are experiencing your body and mind. In the waking state, or in the Jagrata Avastha, you're experiencing your body and mind functioning together. Body, sense organs, and mind. In the Swapna Avastha, the body and the sense organs are not working. Only the mind is creating a space and time for you. So you're experiencing your mind, your different shades of your mind. And in deep sleep, the mind resolves to a point where there is nothing. It comes to a no point. So these three states are the states of your mind. It's like a movie theater, right? So it's sort of, there is absolute there's a projection of a movie, and in the interval there is no movie. So the interval can be considered as a deep sleep. It's not that you're not in the movie hall, there's nothing for you to see, right? But when the movie starts, you can see the movie happening. So when you're seeing the movie happening, you can call that as a Jagrat and Swapna Avastha, and the interval can be called as a Shushupti Avastha. But you, the conscious observer, is observing the presence of movie and the lack of movie.
I have a question here. So can we, because I mean, this is an experience, a couple of years back, I have experienced deeply a deep sleep state, which is because you use the word nothing. The deep sleep state or the nothingness I've experienced when I was awake. So is that possible? Is that what we can say also? I
See,
wouldn't
deep,
say in a dream state, an awaker state, in the Jagrat state, very much aware, but none of my sense organs. I'm not using anything, but that present moment, everything has fallen down. There is nothingness. There is nothing around me. So can we call that as a deep sleep state and being Jagrat about it? Or I don't know. It's
see,
trying
either
to
you are Jagrat or you are in
or
deep sleep.
okay, it cannot be the two.
It is very clearly said, it is mutually exclusive.
Okay.
Either you're in deep sleep, or you are in dream, or you are awake.
Waker state. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So the last sentence in this slide is very interesting. Kosha means vestures or costumes. So I think the mental picture we always draw in our minds is that the Atman is at the center, and then all the sheets are, kind of covering the nucleus. So I think one thing we can say that it's not that the Atman is trapped by the sheets or something. The Atman is all pervasive. And I think that part of it is only a mental picture that for convenience, it is driven that way. But it's not as if the, Atman is just sitting at the nucleus and all these sheets are doing something to it. I think, am I right, Bidan?
You're
I mean,
absolutely
that's
right, Priyam. You're
It's
absolutely
like
right.
that. It's like that in a mathematical equation, no, where there is a constant that is outside. Inside the bracket, there are many things, variables that are happening. So we take the constant. Constant gets attached with one variable, and one output comes. It's a constant, but it's outside the bracket.
Yeah, it's in fact all pervasive here in
Yeah,
this
all
case.
pervasive.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
okay. So I just wanted to make that point before we move on. That's all. I just found it a little interesting, the last sentence. Okay. Yeah, Bidan.
Bidan, I have a doubt here. Can I go ahead? Are you able
Yes,
to
yes.
hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So
I think she needs
when
the previous slide. You need the previous slide?
no, I don't need the slide. That's okay.
Okay.
So
Okay.
when we say we are talking about the sheets, we are talking about the sheets because in a human experience, right, when we are not very conscious of our consciousness or the Atman, all the things that we identify with, whether the Panchakoshas, all those things, they don't allow us to experience the Atman, right? Which is why we are trying to understand them and to take away our ignorance and say that we are much more than this, right? So it still feels like unless and until you pay attention and try to learn about it, we are in some way, like it is like that coal which is burning inside, but it is covered with a lot of what do you say, dust or something like that. That was my understanding. uh, how do I put that across? I'm not getting that. Am I right or not in my understanding?
No, you're right. I do understand from where you're coming. So this has been very clearly told, whether it is in Tattvabodha Upanishad, that the 5 sheets are basically five layers of misidentification, disidentification, or 5 layers of ajnana. So we end up showing that I am tall, I am dark, I am fair, identification of the body. Then we say that I am feeling energetic, I am feeling sick, I am a good singer, I am a marathon, identification with the energy systems. Then we say I am happy, I am sad, I am excited, identification with mind. Then you say I believe that I am an honest person, I believe life has to be like this, I believe marriage has to be like this, I believe nation has to be like this, I believe career has to be like this, identification with your mind. Then I am a great decision maker, I do understand concepts very well, identification with your mind, which is Vijnanmaya Kosha. So what happens is, what the Upanishads are trying to say, these are the 5 layers of identification. You have to take your attention to the one who is experiencing these koshas. But it's like this very simply: when you put the lens in your eyes and you forget that you have put the lens in your eyes, you feel lens is part of you. But actually, it's not a part of you.
Yeah.
So these are the 5 layers of misidentification, or 5 layers of ajnanam. So that's how it is basically being said. And you're right. I mean, that's how it works.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Do we go ahead? So the first sheath that we are going to look at is today is the Annamaya Kosha. So Annamaya Kaha Annarasanaiva Bhutva Annarasanaiva Vriddhim Prapya Annarupa Vitvyam Tad Annamaya Kosha Stula Shariram. This is the shlokam given. So we'll just try to get into the shlokam. Next slide. Yeah. So as we know that this kosha is representing the gross body. So the tangible part of ourselves. Anna means food. So actually this is a little interesting because the Upanishads have a different take from what we, imagine this creation to be. The Upanishads state that all of us are composed of food emanating from the earth. So there are some references from different Upanishads. So how does the body even come into existence? From Prithvi. Prithvi is one of the Panchabhutas. So tasmadva etasmadat manaha akashaha sambhutaha. This means from the very beginning, from the beginning of the beginning, the akasha was first created. And then that is the ether, basically space. Akasha Vayuhu. From there, the next element, which was Vayu. Vayu Ragni. That means Agni from Vayu. Agni Rapaha. Apaha in Sanskrit means water, Jalam. There are a lot of words in Sanskrit for water. So there we saw the creation of, after Agni, the Apaha, Adbhyaha, Prithvi. Adbhya is another synonym for water. So then we had the creation of the Prithvi, which is the earth. Prithvya Oshadaya. So today we are going to actually look at this part. Prithvya Oshadaya. Daya. Oshadibhyo Annam. Oshadibhyo Annam. Annat Purushaha. Annat Purushaha. That means from the Annarasa, man is created. So we'll just see how this is explained in the Upanishads, this whole process. Yeah, we can go to the next slide, Bidan. So as we saw, Akasha was the first element created. And okay, we have gone through this, no? We can skip this. I already spoke about this. Yeah. So how does the Stula Shariram come into existence from Prithvi? That is Earth. So what is this Oshadaya? The Oshadaya actually refers to the plant kingdom. So from the plant kingdom, we derive all kinds of foods. And this food is consumed by Purusha, man. So here is the plant kingdom, and then due to consumption of this food, it is then converted into, different, broken down into maybe carbs, fats, whatever, proteins, etc. So these are the modified forms of the food that we eat. So there are actually a lot of details, I believe, in other Upanishads which describe this breaking down of the foods into these basic elements. And the opinion of the Upanishads is that some of this food leads to actually the creative part, which is nothing but the sperm and the egg, depending on the gender. So this part, I think, there's not much information here which deals with how exactly this could be happening. But maybe Bidan can, come in on this. So this leads to birth. So finally, we are seeing a chain from the food being grown to creation, Shrishti, that is of a new human body. So this is the chain which is explained in an Upanishadic perspective. Yeah, we can go to the next slide, Bidan. So Anna Rasena Utpattihi. So this Utpatti is creation. So from Anna Rasa, we are having Utpatti. And then this Anna Rasa is fed through to the baby. So Anna Rasanaiva Vriddhim Prapya. So the Vriddhim Prapya means growth is achieved due to this. So in a way, indirectly, since Prithvi or Bhudevi as we call is responsible for creation, that is how we revere the Prithvi to be our mother. That is how we refer to Prithvi in female gender actually. As the body grows old, the same annam causes a lot of problems to us. Consumption becomes a problem, and hence we see a decay in our body, and the body goes back to Prithvi. And indirectly, this becomes the karanam for the next birth or generation to sustain life, basically. So next one. So in conclusion, Annam is Shrishti Karanam, cause for creation, Sthiti Karanam, cause for sustenance, Laya Karanam. Laya is destruction in Sanskrit. So all the phases can be now tied to the fact that we consume food that comes from the Prithvi. So so Prithvi is a cause of origination, cause of sustenance, and resolving of our body. So that is what we meant by the shloka. Annarasena eva bhutva, annarasena eva vriddhim prapya, annarupa prithvyam. So the body goes back to Prithvi, which is earth. Is this the last slide? Yeah, we have the last slide here. Yad viliyate tad annamaya kosha. Viliyate means that which dissolves or destructs. Yad and tad, always that comes as a pair in Sanskrit. As the body destructs, so that is the annamaya kosha. So basically, the body is undergoing different forms. Tad annamaya Kosha Stula Shariram. So that is called the Stula Shariram. Okay. So this is about the shloka. Actually, the interesting part about this I found was that this tying up of this role of the earth, and finally, actually, everything is tied to the Panchabhuta elements. That is the connection. We generally don't think about it in that way. So this was some revelation, actually. Thank you.
Beautiful, Prema. Thank you so much. In case anybody has questions, please feel free to ask them.
Okay. So this is Shloka 14.3. Pranamaya Ka. And let me request Sri Vidya to read the next line because I'm really bad at it.
Okay. Yeah. Pranamaya Pranadhyah Panchavayavah Vagadi Indriya Panchakah Pranamaya Koshah.
Yeah, thank you. So basically the question is, what is Pranamaya Kosha? So the Guru answers saying that the five physiological functions like prana, right? And the other five organs of actions like speech, together, both of this together form the vital air sheet. Yeah, we could move to the next slide with that. So when you look at the two parts of it, right? The physiological system, it has prana, which basically is the respiratory part of it, the apana, which is the excretory part. Then we're looking at Vyana, which is circulatory, then Samana, which is digestive, and Udana, reversing. So these five, and then you have Pranamaya also constitutes five organs of actions, which is Karmendriya, which starts with Vak, speech, Hasta, Pada, Payu, and Upasta. So Pranamaya Kosha is what the answer that's there here is Pranamaya Kosha is addition of all these things which are there. And I did, and of course, the point in Pranamaya Kosha is it basically connects your Annamaya Kosha to your Manomaya Kosha. It is very important. And yeah, I think one revelation, as Prema just mentioned, when I was listening to various things and reading, is the way each one of these koshas are connected and so interdependent on each other. So yeah, that's about Pranamaya Kosha. Thank you.
Thank you, Anand.
Okay.
Any questions?
Yeah, I had one question. Whether it's Manomaya or Pranamaya, these systems are referring more to the physical layer of those koshas in a way. Respiratory, excretory, circulatory. There is a physical mapping, right?
That's right. That's absolutely right. Absolutely.
Okay. But still, we are not talking about the pranic energy behind these actions, behind these systems.
No, I
Because
don't.
there is some
Yeah. Sorry.
Sorry. Because I don't know. Maybe it comes under some other heading, classification.
What do you mean by pranic energy, Prema?
Yeah, because just the fact that you have a circulatory system is not enough, right? There is some energy level behind that always for the functioning of that system. It's like, you have eyes, but that's not enough. There is something happening beyond that, right? Which causes a vision.
Correct. So that what causes a vision is a part of pranamaya kosha. So your eyes, the physical eyes, is a part of your annamaya kosha. It is called golaka.
Hmm.
But the entire process
Hmm.
in which the seeing happens,
Right.
that process is a part of prana, because there is something called sense organs. Sense organs is not the part of golakam. My eyes is a golakam, but
Right.
power of seeing, as he was explaining, right, that is your sense organs. Or so all these, say for example, respiratory system, so my nose and the air coming in and out, but there's a system, there's a power that works to keep. So for example, if the hormones get secreted, if the blood flows, so what is happening? There is a electricity, there's a power, because when a person dies, the golakam remains, the body remains, but the system does not function. Why? Because prana has left the body. You have switched off the current. The fan will not rotate. So that pranic energy that you're talking about is a part of pranamaya kosha.
So it's part of this
Yes.
classification. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, it's mine. Huh? Okay, sorry. मनोमय कोशः कः मनश्च ज्ञानेन्द्रियपञ्चकं मिलित्वा यो भवति स मनोमय कोशः. Let us understand what this means. Manomaya koshah kah means what is the mental sheath. That is what the student is asking now. Manascha Gyanendriya Panchakam. Manascha means mind along with the Gyanendriya, five Gyanendriyas. Militva means together. So Manascha Gyanendriya Panchakam Militva. Yo Bhavati Sa Manomaya Kosha. That is the mental sheath. This is what the shloka is saying. Right? So let's understand a little bit more in detail. You can go to the next slide. So we just saw that it is a manas plus Gyanendriya Panchakam. We know that mind is a sankalpa vikalpa atmakam, which is the deciding of a deciding and doubting nature. So mind is the thinking function. Mind includes the chitta and also the ahamkara, which is the feeling of I-ness, right? And Gyanendriya Panchakam, we already know that that is what is which gives us access to the external world. Now, the whole world is Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, and Gandha. And Gyanendriyas, which is our way of experiencing the world, are the five sense organs, which is for listening, tasting, seeing, feeling, and smelling. Right? So, it is, we have already seen that it is the interaction of the sense organs and the external sense object that leads to experience. We already saw it in Bhautika Prapancha, right, which is the experience of the external world. And similarly, even in the dream space, what we are actually doing, which is the Swapna Prapancha, is projection of these experiences we have already had in the waking state. So, directly or indirectly, all our experiences are coming from the through the sense organs. So, when the mind starts interacting with the external world through the sense organs, it gives rise to emotions, right? So therefore the manomaya kosha is also the emotional personality. It gives rise to emotions, and one of the most powerful emotion we feel is ichha shakti, which is the power of desire. What is interesting, you should know the word power, right? Why power of desire? Right, because we have already always been under the impression that all desires is something we need to get rid of. So why power? We'll come to it. So desire, we know, is linked to only what we know. You can only desire what we know. We cannot desire something we do not know. So 100 years back, you could not have desired for computer games, right? And neither could you desire for all the things that artificial intelligence is able to do today. So, right, it wasn't possible. So, only what can be seen or known or conceptualized in some manner is what can give rise to desire, right? And let's go to the next slide, Bina. So what do? Desire requires collecting data with the help of Jnanendriyam, right? Each sense organ creates a desire. Now I taste a new sweet and I immediately have a desire to eat it again. I see a beautiful place and I have the desire of going there. But only when I see that, maybe in Facebook or somewhere, I'll feel like going to that place. Only once I've tasted a sweet or heard about a sweet from someone will I feel like tasting it. So it is inextricably linked to what we have known, right? And what happens? Desire leads to action. So the moment a desire comes, the next thing is it leads to action, which is the power of execution. So when we say power, what do we mean? Desire is a blessing. That is why it is a power, right? So when we say the power, without a desire, can we do any action in this world? Not really. Even if someone says, I don't like the work that I'm doing, but I'm still doing, that is also linked to a desire. That could be a veiled desire because you are trying to do it for earning money, maybe. You might not like the work you are doing, but you are wanting the security. You want the things that money can buy you, right? That is why you are doing that. So without desire, there is absolutely no action possible. If we are in this Tattvabodha class, we are here because we are trying to elevate ourselves. So there is a desire behind any action we are doing. So what happens is when we look at our whole life, uh, we are trying to refine these desires, right? So when we say refine these desires, then what do we mean? So desire could be of various types. Now desire could be something for looking good, which is at the level of Annamaya Kosha. Desire could be to eat good food, go to beautiful places, right? Acquire material wealth. Desire could be also for knowledge, right? But it is about how we are choosing to elevate our mind. Right now we have a desire of elevating our mind or acquiring knowledge by joining this class, so that is also a desire. So when we saw in sadhana chatushtaya, which is the fourfold qualification, if you remember, the last one was mumukshutvam. What is mumukshutvam? Mumukshutvam is a ichha, which is the intense desire for a spiritual goal. So without that desire, there is nothing possible. So mumukshutvam is also a desire without which you could not proceed in the spiritual path. So you could have desire for attaining moksha, desire to do good for the society. So when you say refinement, what do you mean? Is there a gradation in this desire? So the one way to look at it is selfless desires could be called as more refined desire because you are not trying to feed things for yourself. So desire to basically you work with the objective of either dissolving our egos, which is our desire for moksha, which is a higher desire, or you're trying to do a selfless work for the entire society, right? So these could be the refined desires. Now let us look at the word kosha, right? And we've talked about it. Kosha is not, as Prema rightly mentioned, it is not a physical covering. It is not like the seed within the mango, right? So you just peel out the outer layer and you get the seed, and that is the Atma. So we know that koshas are sheaths or covering, but rather than looking at it that way, you should think of it as that which covers the Atma or distracts our attention from discovering the Atma. So kosha is better understood as anything that distracts our attention from discovering the Atma. What happened in Annamaya Kosha? How does it distract from discovering the Atma? So if you are engrossed with the physical body, we tend to mistake ourselves as the physical body and forget about the Atma. We are all the time trying to look good. We put too much of importance in our appearance, right? That takes our energy away from discovering the Atma. What is pranamaya? How does that kosha distract us from discovering the Atma? Hunger and thirst comes from pranamaya kosha. So when hunger and thirst come, we forget about the Atma, and that becomes a distraction. So purpose of life is taken as eating and drinking. So that becomes a distraction. Now, someone will say Manomaya is supposed to be much better, right? It's about knowledge. So, how can Manomaya cause a distraction? How is that distraction? So, when mind starts desiring something, when do you desire something? When you have a lack of it. If you have a lack of something, is when you want that, right? So if you are wanting a good sweet, it is a lack of that sweet. Whatever we desire is because we experience a lack of it. That indicates, that is how the desire starts. So what happens normally for most of the other desires, the attention becomes extroverted. You start looking at outside objects to fulfill that desire. Whereas for a self enquiry, we have to go inwards, but our attention is outwards. So, what happens? Such a person won't work towards self enquiry. And that is how this desire can cloud the or become a distraction towards discovering the Atma. Yeah, that's it.
So beautifully explained, Asha. Thank you so much. Any questions?
I would just like to say amazing clarity. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think the koshas or the sheets can only be looked at as layers of ignorance. That will be a better way to picturize for our understanding. Thank you, Asha. Very nice.
What happened? It's done? Yeah.
Yeah, 4 of them.
Oh, yeah. I lost the track of time. Okay.
But we bang on time.
Today we are bang on time, so you know.
So I think we are done with one part of Tattvabodha. No, we are not. I think one more is there, Anandamaya
Yeah.
questions to be
Yeah.
discussed. And after that, so Tattvabodha has 3 important parts: Jiva, Ishvara, and Shrishti. So I think Jiva will be done in the next session. So what we will do is, after the next session is done, where we have discussed Jiva, one session we will just take to put things together so that we can kind of make sense and look at a holistic picture. Does it make sense to all of you? Do you think we should do this?
Yeah.
All right,
Yes, yes.
we'll think through how do we do that. So Jiva portion will be done. So that is a great achievement in itself that we have sort of looked at, because very beautifully Sahana said in the beginning that we are made up of 2 things. One is Atma, another is Anatma, right? And Asha beautifully said that those Anatma is distraction. So since we are distracted because of we are distracted as koshas, we kind of get entangled in those Anatma, and the Atma always remains hidden, which is our real nature. And Jivatma is a combination of both Atma and Anatma. And what has happened so far, they have told us to look at Anatma in 3 different ways. The first way, they have segregated Anatma as Sthula Shukshma Karna Sharira. The second way they have segregated Atma is 3 prapanchas that they spoke about. They spoke about Jagrat, Swapna, and Sushupti. And third way to describe the same Anatma is from a perspective of Panchakoshas: Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanmaya, and Anandamaya. So they have created, how much you only mentioned, Sahana, right? 3 plus 3 plus 5. 11 ways to break the Anatma, just to tell you that, look, you are Atma, completely distracted with Anatma. So can we take the focus to Atma? That's where they're laying the foundation. Right. Perfect. Any more questions, any more content or comments, or we can just do our prayers and be done for today. Great. Uma, would you want to say the prayer?
Okay. Om Shruti Smriti Puranam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram. Om Purnamada Purnamida Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Thank you. See you next lesson.
Yeah. Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you all. Good
Thank
night.
you. Bye.